Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Bald and Bonkers Show. Join your hosts Christopher Mole and Dakota Franson as they take you on a wild ride through the world of the supernatural, with a humorous twist that'll have you laughing and shaking in your boots at the same time. From ghosts to aliens to cryptids, no topic is off limits on this show. And the best part? You don't have to be a believer to join in on the fun. So grab a drink, kick back, and tune in every weekend for new episodes. And if you want even more of the Bald and Bonkers experience, be sure to subscribe to our Patreon page for exclusive content you won't find anywhere else. Let's get weird. Oh, and for the whiners out there, viewer discretion is advised. There you go, you entitled pricks.
I must say that is an absolute.
Fuck. It's a good job this is a fucking adult show, I'll tell you that fucking right now. Jeez, honestly, do you know something? Oh, God. Do you know, I'm going to get you back, Dakota. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to get you back. Ladies and gentlemen, Dakota, I've got an announcement to make. Dakota was on Elena Denen's show last night, and it was absolutely fantastic.
Oh, God. I was honestly nervous about recording that, but the second Elena came on, it was awesome, and plenty to leave you thinking afterwards. I'm just pulling it up right now just to get the numbers.
So over 10,000 views now.
We're at 9,325 views.
Wow, it's been up. Then
1,000.2 likes. You know, there's some people that are saying they're gratitude. Oh, I'm so very confused, and some individual said something feels off, and it's just, but not with Elena. It's like, oh, well, fuck you. I'm just kidding.
Well, at least I was actually quite interested in the comments about me being your twin. Don't you find that interesting? The handsomest one, may I add? The handsomest one.
Yeah, and I was meaning to wear these on the show just to kind of make things worse for everybody.
You know, I've got the
no,
cold,
I don't
ladies
actually.
And gentlemen. I think he's got it too.
Yeah, I'm trying to avoid it.
Yeah.
Look at that. And ladies and gentlemen that are coming over because of my latest interview with Elena Denon.
Yeah.
Number one, I got these glasses as a gag. I actually don't need them.
Yes, I actually need these, ladies and gentlemen, because without them,
because he's the old man. And no, Chris and I aren't twins. We're not brothers. There may be some sort of relation. We're trying to figure that out, to be completely honest. But we didn't know that when we first met.
No. We do have a connection somehow, and maybe in the future things will come out about that, but we'll leave that just right now. I think Elena knows something. I think you know something. Could you message me? You know?
How about actually grow some balls and talk to her yourself, man?
But it's just, I don't want it to annoy her. She's a busy woman.
Well, yeah, I didn't want to annoy her too with my stuff, but I was just like, eventually, so I had so much come up, and then I realized there was a connection to Elena. That was going to be the only way.
Did you want to hear something I learnt tonight about Dakota, ladies and gentlemen? And it just shows you how young he is and how old I am. This is... you've ever heard of the song, the dance, the Rocky Horror Picture Show? He has heard of the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Do you know, and Elena, you can help me here if you watch this back. Do you know he's never did the Rocky Horror Show dance? What was it called? The Time Warp again. He's never done the Time Warp. Ladies and gentlemen, right below this video, if you've done the Time Warp, Yeah, this young man here hasn't done it, but he's going to a UFO convention, and is it October? Is it? And there's
I'm gonna try
dinner.
to before you start committing me to shit that doesn't happen for whatever. Knock on wood.
A nuclear apocalypse or an asteroid might strike, but hopefully he'll get there, and any donations would be helpful to the company. We can send Dakota off to this special event, and he can do the time warp again. Imagine you never doing that dance. Everybody's done that dance. Obviously, you haven't, but you must be like the 1% of the world that's never done it. What are you doing?
Yeah, that alleged 1%.
Changing my name again.
Oh, you're so fucking paranoid.
He's always changing my name, ladies and gentlemen, getting me paranoid.
No, just posting up the link to the crowdfunding thing so that way we can get some money together to make this movie that we want to make.
I mean, yes, we only need about $5 million, so it's not that much, I mean, it'd be nice if there's anybody out there that's loaded, and I actually went, a large donation would go a long way.
Exactly. If there's any rich folks out there, Chris is single. He would love to take you out. He doesn't necessarily have any preference.
Nah, nothing. Anything will do me, really. I'm happy about anything, to be honest with you. I'm simple.
So, anyone who would like to buy Chris a dinner and take him out and have your way with him, just put a big donation in the.
Has to be a big donation.
The crowdfunder.
It's going to be a big donation, and in that case, you're paying for nothing. I'm afraid. What?
Well,
I'm
if they
Scottish.
got the money, they can.
I'm Scottish. That's how Copper Wire was invented. Two Scotsmen arguing over a penny. I mean, come on.
And I will say this: there was someone who commented on one of our older videos.
Oh, I know.
Saying it was kind of funny. Two Americans who can't understand a Welsh person. Then I responded like, "Who's the Welshman? Chris is Scottish."
Yes.
Okay, you see, folks. Yeah, I understand what you're trying to say. Oh, it doesn't matter. It's the interview. But if you mix up anybody who's from the UK, you're going to get your ass in trouble. I'm just going to say that right now.
Look, I'm going to say this to you now. We've got English people. We've got Welsh people. We've got Irish people. We've got Scottish people. And believe me, you don't want to piss off the Irish. Let me just say that right now. Do not piss off the Irish.
The Irish hate the Scots. The Scots hate the English. The English hate the Irish and the Scots. But everybody hates the Welsh.
The Welsh are all right. But
that's how it was explained to me.
I just don't know. I've never sounded Welsh in my entire life.
Yeah, no.
I mean,
the Welsh. I'm not saying this. I'm just a dead brain American before anybody goes to attack me. The Welsh, they almost sound angrier than the Scottish. But then again, that's the number of times people try and...
The light leaks.
And that's coming from the number of times I've seen people online asking a Welsh content creator if they're Scottish, and the creator just goes absolutely ballistic.
That's very true. Oh, and we do have another announcement. We would like to wish someone well. Neil's a very special guest that's been on our Go Scott Scotland and Bald Bonkers numerous times, and he's going into hospital tomorrow, guys, for a hip replacement. And I actually seen it was Dave Schrader that put it on Facebook. We wish you the best, Neil. I hope you get a speedy recovery, and honestly, man, we're thinking about you, we're praying for you, and you'll be okay.
Don't be listening to Chris and doing too much time warp for a little bit.
I just can't believe you've never done the time warp. It's the time warp. It's the time warp. I'm telling you, Elena, if you're watching this, please, for the love of God, you must get him to do the time warp when you meet him at that thing. You can thank me later, Dakota. I know you love me.
I'm questioning that right now.
I know. But it's I blame the cold medication that I've been taking. I've been taking loads of cold medications since I'm a wee bit away with it.
All right, hold on. Let's check something. Yeah, his pupils are a little bit dilated.
My nose already. I've got hundreds of tissues lying everywhere.
Hey, what you do in your time, man?
Wait, I'm just saying that it's no very. It said that this is meant to be for like embalmed with like special fluids to stop your nose from cracking, but it's very, very dry, nippy.
Yeah. Yeah. That always sucks. Everybody around me is getting fucking sick, and I'm just like, stay away!
See, that's what happened to me. See, that's what happened to me. A relation of mine came down the other day there and was coughing, spreading the virus everywhere. Of course, Muggins here had to be the first subject.
Yeah. Ironically, one of my relations popped over last night in the middle of the night and was hacking away the entire night, and I was just like, God damn, take your glasses off and smother yourself with a pillow or something. I'm just kidding.
So, out of curiosity, what other strange things are happening in this strange world? Because we're meant to have a guest tonight.
But we don't know what the hell has happened, so hopefully they get back to us. Her husband's supposed to be joining us next week, so we can probably make up time there. If that ends up being the case. But I guess we can start kind of going into do a one-on-one discussion before we start letting in people on this coming Saturday about the latest ET headlines. I thought that would be a good follow-up to
What do you mean,
Elena.
the giant mothership? I'm going to go by the mad, crazy news that's on Google and everywhere else. The mothership that's in distant orbit around the Earth. Everybody's going to want to put it in TikTok.
Oh.
Right, no bother. Right. And then you get that when you go.
No, I was just going to say, first up, it's being highly speculated by official Department of Defense consultants that Dr. Loeb from Harvard University, who's one of the big names, saying that Oumuamua was actually some sort of probe. That the reason why we're seeing all this stuff is because a mothership is near Earth in our solar system, getting ready to show itself.
It's going to be hanging for big because Oumuamua was quite big as a probe.
The Excelsior's fucking huge, man.
I've heard about that. Yeah, I've heard about that. It's meant to be like planet size kind of thing. It's huge, aye.
Not quite planet size.
No, moon size. You came up and talking about like the moon, half the size of the moon. Aye, right.
Roughly.
But it makes you wonder if
station, restaurants, shopping mall.
It makes you wonder if this is why they're doing the chemtrailing in this weather. And I am going into this kind of thing because they've come out and said about the chemtrails now. I'm going to say this. There's a lot of videos out there where people are pointing their cameras at the sun. It's a really stupid thing to do, guys, unless you've got the right technology. One, you'll burn, if it's an expensive phone, you'll burn out the sensor in your phone, right? Which will make your camera buggered. Now, there's a word for you, a British word for you, buggered. Or, if you're looking at the sun, somebody says you should stare at the sun for at least 10 minutes every day. Are you mad? Are you crazy?
Okay, maybe go like this at the sun.
Yes, and shut your eyes.
It helps with vitamin D. It helps promote healthy skin growth. It helps with your circadian rhythm. Yes, going out into the sun is healthy for you, but unless you have some very, very, very dark lenses or glasses, don't do it.
Like a welder's mask or something like that. But what I'm going to say to you is this: not even a welder's mask. You have to have the right protective equipment. There's been some in TikTok, and I'm going to phrase TikTok here, that went, I stared at the sun today for half an hour, and I could see lots of dots, and I think they're planets. No, that's your retinas getting burnt out, friend. Don't stare at the sun.
Yeah, those little floaty. When you're out on a beautiful day, it's bright out. You see those little. You got those little floaters. Okay, that's bits of your retina that naturally die off and fall. That's just part of your normal body cycle. If you start seeing too much of those, consult your local physician.
Yeah. Don't think it's aliens coming for the planet Zorg. Right?
It's like, no, that is literally shit in your eye.
See, I'm going to be honest with you here, right? Because of the stuff that I know about the aliens and stuff like that, and what we do and stuff like that, half the shit I see online, I don't believe it's true. And that Harvard professor going on about the mothership and all, but I think they're honestly trying to play the public that's no awake yet to thinking there's an alien invasion coming. And I fully, obviously, Elena, and I know you did, Dakota, because you were on her show last night. I only believe what she talks about now. I only believe what she talks about now, and that's the honest truth, because see some of the stuff that's coming out the mainstream media, there's a giant mothership in orbit. Maybe there is, right? I just think there's something dodgy going on, right? Here's another thing, and this is kind of tying into this. What do you think about this new emergency system that's coming to the UK?
A new emergency system.
Yeah, have you not heard about that? On April the 23rd to the 24th, they're going to be testing the new emergency thing. Now, everybody, look, I'm not saying use it or turn it off. I'm no thing where I've turned mine off, right? Everybody's phone on the 23rd of April will get a text message, and it'll be a siren saying this is the emergency alert system. We've never had anything like that, ever. And see, the thing is, see if you don't accept it, you can't use your phone. They've designed it so, honestly, see if you don't accept that, you've got to hit OK and then say agree. See if you don't agree, you can never use your phone. Right? Now, I've turned it off. I've went into the system. There's ways of doing it, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not saying do it, and I'm not saying don't do it. It's up to you. I've went and turned it off so as I don't get the alert system. Somebody says to me the other day, what happens if there's a nuclear war? Look, I don't think me getting an alarm on my phone's going to save me from a nuclear blast. Right? I think there's something more to this. And I think it's like pre-programming people. Do you have that kind of thing in the United States, Dakota? With the emergency phone system?
Yes, we do. And because my family's law enforcement affiliated, my number's tied to it. As far as shutting down your phone, if you don't accept it, it doesn't even give you the option to accept it. It just hits you randomly. And, I mean, most cases, it's missing persons alerts. You know, Amber alerts. And first off, the number of people who go to complain that they get those things, I mean, I'm sorry. You're complaining now. What are you going to be doing when everybody else is shutting that off and it's someone you care about that's coming across those lines?
Right.
That's what I got to say about that.
This is, right. I can understand we're missing people and stuff like that, right? But in the UK, we've never had anything like that. We've never had anything like that, right? And this is what I'm going to say. Right? Just listen to me. They say it's only to be used for floods, right? Floods and fires. I live in Scotland, right? I live in a high elevation, right? I've hardly see floods. The river might break its banks now and again, right? That's normal. It rains 99% of the time here, right? As you do know, right? Fires in Scotland are, well, if it rains 99% of the time, you know, we've never had these things. I just think there's something more to this. Because I think it's a good idea, don't get me wrong. See the emergency alert that comes on your TV and stuff like that? Or your laptop or stuff like that? That's fine. But it's how it locks you out of your phone. I think there's something suspicious there. Why?
That is a little suspicious.
Yeah. You have to press the OK. If you ignore it, it will not allow you to do anything with your phone. You can't do anything. It's basically a brick until you press OK or wait till the next day.
Well, okay. We also have to remember, Chris, the major fires that were happening over on your side of the pond when
That's right, we're
that
down
heat
south.
wave hit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that heat wave that was hitting so hard that alpacas near
that
Loch
was
Ness
terrible.
decided to go on a beach day.
I could honestly, I'm going to say something right now. That was the worst. Scottish people are the worst for weather, right? We complain when it rains and we complain when it's warm, right? And you probably know this when you were here, Dakota. That was that hot here. The tar road outside my house was bubbling. It was literally bubbling, right?
Now,
I had to sit underneath a bridge next to a river to keep cool.
Now, here's my thought process. Seeing what I've seen, at least over here, as far as them breaking out your phone, you have to take into consideration the number of people who assume that they're just going to be okay and that if something does happen, somebody will rescue them no matter what. Basically, no matter how bad they fuck up, somebody's always going to come bail them out.
Right.
But when they don't, the family turns around and sues emergency services.
Right. This is what I think. They're using the excuse it's for fire and floods. Right. That's what they're using it for, and they're saying it might never go for the next 5 to 10 years. Right. Right. They're saying that this it might never happen again. Right. That's a bit suspicious. That. Well, honestly, I tell you, my opinion is, I think whatever's happening in Europe now, right, is escalating, right? And I'm not naming names, but things are escalating in the world, right? It might be a distraction for other things, right? I think it's an emergency alert to prepare the people in case that happens. And we all know what happens. I'm not saying it because it just damages the channel if I mention it.
Yeah, we're already getting flagged by the Russians.
What? How do we get flagged by the Russians? I love Russia. I'm saying that deliberately so as that they don't flag us.
No, it's every time we well, not on the main one, but on our backup one.
Really?
Where we have the game night videos hosted.
But how do you know it's Russia that's flagging us?
Because that's what YouTube tells where the videos are now blocked.
Really? So I'm blocked in my gaming night on Russia. That's terrible, Russia. I don't love you anymore. That's that.
And you wonder why they're worried about the UK going underwater here soon.
I know. I mean, the world is messed up, ladies and gentlemen. The world is totally, absolutely, completely, and utterly messed up.
It is.
And I think a lot of it's distractions. I think a lot of this is distractions. Honestly.
Yeah, it's honestly, there's so much going on right now. You'd be a conspiracy theorist not to think something's up.
I mean, I used to believe in chemtrailing, right? And I used to tell people, and people would laugh at me and say, "Oh, don't be stupid. They don't spray the atmosphere. That's a load of rubbish." Now the BBC and Fox and CNN and all that are saying, yes, we've been spraying the atmosphere for a long time now.
Yeah.
Yeah. And other things were said about other things, which I'm not going to mention, like our last, was it a couple of weeks ago? Remember, was it the 1984 video we were talking about?
Yeah, the 1984 video. Hey, that only got hit on one of our channels. Out of the now 70 we have access to. Only one got hit. And it wasn't even one of the main ones.
Honestly, it's madness. It truly is. What's happening to the world is madness. It's like I said last night with TikTok. It's with TikTok. Look, the reason the mainstream media and everybody else want TikTok banned is because it's no controlled like the mainstream media is controlled. Mm-hmm. Right? Look, you've got to remember Fox News and all the other establishments are owned by these billionaires. I'm not going to mention their names again. They're owned by these billionaires. And these billionaires want to slice TikTok. And TikTok don't want to sell any TikTok. Because as soon as they sell bits of that TikTok, they're going to have to start banning people a lot more.
here's something to consider, and this has actually been proven on several occasions.
Mm-hmm.
You should take into consideration that there's one financial firm with almost, well, I believe it's an estimated $10 trillion dollars in assets.
Have you seen my bank account?
If that's your bank account, why aren't you funding the film, you jackass? No.
Oh, I wanted to see you work for it.
No. You want to see me work? Give me the money so I can make the film like I wanted to make it.
Yeah.
But anyway, there's one company out there, I believe it was like either 10 or $100 trillion in assets. stock holdings, all that fun shit.
Yeah.
It's called BlackRock.
Oh yeah, we know them.
Major media corporations, pharmaceutical companies.
Yeah.
Also, they have bites in just about every industry in the world. Yeah. It's a stock trading company. That's how they get away with it. But you also have to consider a lot of these writers that we've seen, at least over here in the U.S., all of these major media messages that are pushing certain things awfully hard can be traced back to the Democratic Party here in the U.S. Where they get their funding.
Mm-hmm.
Then you got the billionaires playing puppet master.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to say something that we've got BBC television over here, which you have to have a TV license for. You ever heard of that, the TV license?
I came to you to ask you about that when I first heard of it.
Well, in this country, ladies and gentlemen, because I know a lot of viewers are American, in the UK to watch live TV, now I'm just saying live TV, right, you must have a license. Like a driving license kind of thing, right? No, you don't need to sit and test and show them how to watch TV and stuff like that. It doesn't work like that. You have to pay like £140 or £150 a year. So you are allowed to watch terrestrial TV. See the BBC. The BBC don't play adverts. They don't have adverts in them whatsoever, right? Mm-hmm. But I've noticed, see the BBC in the last 5, 6, 7 years, it's all one-sided now. They never show you news like they used to. They don't show you. They only show you like it is like 1984. They only show you what they want you to see. See in France now. Have you seen what's happened in France now?
Yeah, the fucking riots going on.
The riots. See the BBC News and Sky News and all the other news channels in the UK. They've just started reporting on that yesterday.
The main reason I heard about the Paris riots was through fucking TikTok.
Yeah. Yeah. And why do they think they want TikTok banned?
Exactly.
Because if TikTok isn't there, they can spout out all their lies.
I mean, I'll say this. There's, I've found this out, something out through TikTok, that there's a certain supplement apparently I've been supposed to have been taking all this time ever since I had my gallbladder taken out.
Yeah.
Bile salts. The doctors never mentioned jack shit about that. I learned about that through TikTok.
Mm-hmm. Ladies and gentlemen, I had a terrible cold the last few days, and
oh God, we're turning into a pharmaceutical. Oh no!
I learned about these supplements on TikTok that help you. And it's garlic powder. It's a special type of garlic powder. Look it up, research it before you buy in. That's what I'm going to say. Like I did. And it's helping me. I do think it's like you said. It's like you said when I first met you. I mind you were having the conversation about Bigfoot and that, and about how there was actually, was there a man that invented this that found this fungus that you can put in your mouth and it stops your teeth from rotting. What was that? And
there was a certain type of bacteria that actually killed off the bacteria that causes tooth decay, and The reports about that came out when I was like 9 years old. Mind you, despite my rugged good looks, I'm only 27.
Yeah.
Despite Chris's claim, that's a lie.
I'm 41, ladies and gentlemen. We're not twins. I need to tell you that right now. We are not twins.
We just look alike for some reason. We're trying to figure that out ourselves. Yes, there may be some sort of relation. No, we're not brothers.
Right. Elena, please help us in this fact. There you go. Right now. Look.
Yeah, blame Elena. But now, back to what we were talking about.
I'm just saying I blame Elena because I think she could help us open the doorway to understanding and how we're connected. But anyway, off to a subject. Can you imagine the trillions of dollars that's been made on toothpaste?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I will say this too.
Anything that truly causes that has the capability of truly causing revolution ends up getting people killed.
Yeah.
We've known about that since at least the 30s.
The government is desperate to ban TikTok. They're desperate to ban TikTok. Because I've noticed on TikTok, especially here, seeing in the UK, and I don't know about the USA, in the UK, they want to bring in 15-minute cities. Have you heard about this, 15-minute cities?
Yeah, because you keep going on about it.
And they've actually started implementing things. They've started blocking off roads, and if you drive over this road, you get like a £500 fine and all that for driving in this zone, right? And people on TikTok have started the movement, right? And do you know what they do at night? They go at night and they disable the cameras and the roadblocks. This is how revolutions start. Little things like that. This is, and to be honest with you, see the way the UK is run now and the world's run now, we are on the brink of it. We really are.
Yeah, plenty of people are starting to get inspired by the situation going on in Paris right now, and
the police are actually siding
to get worse.
Yeah. The police are siding, yeah.
Yeah, and the politicians are just up and still keep movement, even though, this will probably get landed on a domestic terrorist watch list, but they need to be careful, watch out for a repeat of January 6th here in the States.
So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. If Dakota flies anytime soon, he'll be getting searched. Body cavity, big gloves on and that.
No, I'm just saying, you gotta watch out because people are starting to get to their breaking point.
It's getting to the point now in the UK, the price of everything is just skyrocketing. The price
it's happening here in the US too.
This is what I find, and here's a word for you, farcical, right? This is what I find ridiculous, right? The price of oil and gas is cheaper than it was before the pandemic, right? But the price of electricity and gas for your homes and that has quadrupled. But it's cheaper coming into the UK than what it was before the pandemic. You see where I'm going with this? Do you know that our government, our glorious UK government, I'll just say, I'm not saying the Scottish government because I'm in the UK, they are making trillions off of this. Trillions. Mm-hmm. Do you know that our Prime Minister is the first Prime Minister in history, that is a billionaire?
Really?
Yeah. I don't know about presidents. I don't know if presidents are billionaires, but his wife is Mr. Sunak or whatever he's called. His wife is worth £1 billion. And do you know, before the pandemic, our glorious leader wasn't a leader then. He did other things in the government. Actually had shares in before it happened, and they say he's worth billions. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. This is what I mean. Everything's so corrupt nowadays. You know, I'm no afraid to frying because the only time I leave Scotland when I'm abducted with aliens. You know, and it's mad. It truly is mad. Is there any presidents in US history who were billionaires, except for obviously Trump?
Off the top of my head, Trump was the only one.
Yeah.
But you got to consider something. I fully believe that we are experiencing the true meaning of apocalypse.
Oh, yeah.
Because if you actually look into its original meaning, not how several people have tried to twist it over the years as something way more exciting than the actual truth.
Yeah.
That term apocalypse simply means the veil is thinning.
Yeah.
People are starting to see through shit.
Yeah.
And when it goes back to my earlier remark about people reaching their breaking point, everybody has a potential to commit heinous and absolutely diabolical things if pushed far enough.
Yes.
And people are and the people in power that have profited off of this in more ways than financial are starting to realize they've gotten lazy. And they're starting to push. But so much is built up, they're not going to be able to push back for long. So this is kind of the follow-up on some of the comments I made on the last episode. Stop looking for petty bullshit, narcissistic tendencies to divide yourself from people. If we're going to be able to power through this, whether or not you believe in the ET phenomenon, you got to acknowledge that when you actually look at some of the stuff behind it, yeah, some of the lessons, the morals behind it could actually be very helpful to us.
Yeah.
We've got to stop looking at petty bullshit that start dividing us. Religion, sexuality, all that sizes to you motherfuckers that are making fun of Chris and I's weight.
Who said that?
Oh, no, there was someone that was asking if we were on the American diet. First off, I'm 6'7" and 400 pounds. You try to hit me with a pickup truck, the pickup truck dies. And I'm unfortunately tried that.
When was this? This must be somebody with one brain cell. They're probably sitting stuffing a big pizza into their mouth as we speak.
No, that was someone that commented when we last had Elena on.
Oh, that's just one of the jealous folk. You know, that's just
I know.
And
some people that, I think I have to quote Mike Tyson here. The internet has made people so used to not being punched in the fucking mouth.
Yeah, it's look, that's what's wrong with the human race. We're petty. You know, the war in Europe, I'll just call it the war in Europe, could be ended tomorrow if they pulled their heads out of their arses and just. I know what has happened and has been bad things committed, right? From either side, from both sides, right? But this could be all over by Friday if they just all sat down and said, listen, let's call it quits. I'll no attack you, you no attack me. Let's just leave it. You keep that wee islandy bit at the bottom. Just you have it. We're going home, we're going to rebuild. You do the same. And just leave it. Just leave it. But no. They've got to annoy each other. You got to remember, there's people out there making trillions of dollars off of this. You know that, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
Weapon manufacturers.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look at that balloon that they shot down in America, right? The first one missed, right? That was $400,000 rocket. Mm-hmm. The second one had $800,000 to shoot a balloon down. What did they not just leave it go for? And then there'll be people out there saying, oh, it was an EMP bomb. Look, if that was an EMP bomb, I would have detonated that before it went into the sea. Like, I wouldn't have waited until it was away. You know what I mean? There's a lot of disinformation out there, and there's a lot of information that's causing a lot of problems out there.
You have to acknowledge that the official price tags that came up on that particular incident Chris is talking about, that was a $12 science fair project that we spent $800,000 to shoot down because we became allegedly so paranoid. And speaking of disinformation, here, well, let's bring up something that popped up into the media recently. Star seeds.
That's actually quite interesting. That do tell, Dakota.
So, those of you who followed the show for a while now, I've gone publicly on record and included myself in that demographic. I'm not trying to poke fun at anybody. Yes, I may come across as kind of harsh, but I'm just saying how I'm observing things. Okay? And if you don't like my approach, here's my thought process. If you don't like the fact that something nasty is getting said, find out the reasons why something nasty has to be said, and let's do the course correction instead of working on your feelings, because chances are that person may be calling out something that is going to cause a hell of a lot more damage if you just decide to sit back and ignore it. But that's a rant that comes from somewhere else. So, but star seeds. Basically, what I've said, anytime anybody in the paranormal has, and I'm including UFOs, cryptids, ghosts, everything under that umbrella.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody who gains an interest in that has some sort of feeling of being an outcast. Mm-hmm. And when you really actually sit down, like to be able to end the wars and the fucking drama that's going on, and these people some that we know that are trying to cash in on it. Everybody just pulled their heads out of their asses, sit down and talk. You would understand why. Sit down and fucking talk. And I find it astounding the number of people that seem to be against that idea in itself, Do you know someone actually looked at me and said, I can't work with you if you're actually going to be reasonable. But anyway, going to the media article, because it sounds like I'm going on a tangent here. I know. I'm bad about it.
Release that stress.
This is why I say Bald and Bonkers is my therapy. But several media outlets have started to report a psychological phenomenon involving people who identify themselves as star seeds. Huh? A link to one of the articles is below here. You can check it out for yourself. But basically, they're saying exactly what I said in much nicer terms, that people who feel this way were essentially some sort of societal outcast, and they're trying to understand why they don't connect with other human beings so well. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't see them as a societal outcast. I don't see... I know for a fact that I've got a connection up there. And I don't see as an outcast. I just see what I've been saying here for a reason. Like you have. And like Elena has. And other people have.
That's actually what they're trying to say in the article, though. People feel like they're outcasted, so they have to fulfill some sort of self-image aspect by convincing themselves that there's some greater meaning. I'm sorry, doesn't most major religions try to preach that bullshit?
Well, why? Christianity does that.
That's what I just said. Don't most major religions also try to say stuff like that?
Some folk
it all happens for a reason.
Aye, but Christianity does that, where they say they descended for this and that, and the next thing, all that kind of stuff, and they were sent by God and stuff. Look at all these preachers in America and stuff. I'm not just saying America, that all drive by $billion jets and stuff like that shit, that say they were sent here by God to help you and stuff like that. So are they no classed as the same thing?
Yeah.
I think people are starting to wake up to the true fact that there is life out there, and this earth is getting watched. And I think they're getting a feel of that. And I think, and in my purely honest opinion, I think there will be new witch hunts, but it'll be people like us that get hunted because they're afraid.
They'll try. But unfortunately, that's what it all boils down to. And I'm going to say this. This is going to sound kind of off, but if anybody actually pays attention, or looks, you can see I actually have a track record of being able to collect evidence to validate I'm experiencing something.
Oh yeah.
So, and Elena really, really pushed for me to send her that stuff. So, I can agree to an extent. Because we see it all the time in our own chats that we have certain individuals that we know personally. We know there's bits of their situation to where they jump in and try to draw the attention to themselves.
Yes.
Yes, it is a very real thing. And there's a number of reasons why that needs to be addressed. Because there may be a legitimate situation that this person is going through. They need help, and they may not be able to be mentally strong enough to admit they need help.
I know what you're talking about, right? And I know who you're talking about. And I'm just going to say this. There's people I've met in life that have made stuff up that I know they've made up because I've heard the real story for somebody else, but they were there at the same time and they've taken that story, they've changed it, they've tweaked it to their own, but they've left similarities. You see where I'm trying to go with this, Dakota? Mm-hmm. And I'm seeing quite a lot of this lately throughout the internet community, especially with Starseeds and especially with the Galactic Federation, right? Especially with the Galactic. TikTok's one of the worst places, right? I'm going to say that right now. TikTok's one of the worst places for the Galactic Federation. I was watching a thing the other night. I'm not going to say whose channel it was. It was this guy and this woman, and they were talking about the Galactic Federation, how the Greys had told them that the Greys had told them that they were the saviours. And they were the ones in charge of the Galactic Federation. No, just let me finish. And I'm sitting there thinking, these are people
I'm just thinking I know who this is.
No,
I think I know who you're talking about.
No, just listen to me. I'm sitting there thinking, what is this? What is this? Do you know what they'd done? They'd listen to somebody else, then they'd listen to somebody else, and they'd listen to somebody else, and they must have heard all this stuff, so they thought they'd put it all together. It didn't make any sense. Mm-hmm. And some people were asking the chat about the Greys, and the Greys are great, and they're here to save us all. Right? And I'm like, these people have done no research whatsoever. They've heard this, they've seen it attracts people, and they've thought they would use it.
Yeah.
And they were talking about similarities, they were talking about things that were happening, right, in the ET community, right? But they had it all the wrong way round about. It was totally wrong. I mean, like Elena talks and stuff like that, and you came out with that video that Elena did, the heated one she did. I was in shock when she did that.
I was shocked at how much she was person. I was like, she got fired up. Damn.
I was like, damn, woman. I was like that. No, but what I'm saying is, there's people out there, and believe this or not, and there'll be people who say, oh, if people don't do that, and this is there is. There's people who'll come to this channel and they'll see something, then they'll go to Elena's channel, and then they'll go to somebody else's channel, and they'll see all this, right? And they'll think, oh, this is bringing in loads of viewers. And then they'll just chuck it all together. And they'll talk about it, thinking that the Greys are great, these aliens that are abducting people and doing terrible things to it is great. It's for the bestness of humanity and stuff like that. They're just talking, and here's a thing I'm going to use. They're talking out their arse, right? They've just threw it onto a bag, shook it, and then brought it out as a story. Because there's people on TikTok that I actually admire, right? Because they talk real stuff, but then there's people that just talk a load of absolute utter shit. They'll be talking about the Galactic Federation, how the Greys have run the council of the elders, and I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, there's no such thing as the Greys of the council in the thing. They've made it up. Because it sells. And people are donating the little roses and stuff like that to them. Mm-hmm. And some of them are like, you can, if you become a member, you're a member of the Galactic Federation of Light, but you have to leave a minimum donation of like a 20 quid or something like that. Mm-hmm. It's a business. It's called taking the pure piss. and it pisses me off. It really does. And I've met folk in the YouTube community and the YouTube and Facebook community that I know that are deliberately doing this. It pisses me off. I've seen it. I seen them the other night. They were yabbering away, 2 of them. And you know who I'm talking about, Dakota. Mm-hmm. You know exactly who I'm talking about. And the utter shit that was coming out their mouths, that the greys, they came to me and they cured my illnesses and they saved me and they told me that they are now the rulers of earth and we must follow them and we must do that. And I'm like, and I'm just sitting there, and you can say there is people, I'm sorry for that, I'm going to say this, there is people out there are idiots, right, and they follow this stuff. Don't. I highly suggest, if you want to learn about this kind of stuff, look at Dakota stuff or look at Elena Dennen stuff. Don't go anywhere else, please, unless you know them, unless they're a well-known name. Dakota?
I'm going to say this, just to kind of focus on some of the comments I've seen when we and Elena link up. It's like, oh, I don't trust those two, but I trust Elena, blah, 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 blah. First off, I seen for a fact that Elena would not, she would probably would just out of the kindness of her heart, but she would not be, she would have not had me on her channel if she didn't have some inclination that I was telling the truth about what I said, or at least doing my best to. Because when you get into these types of subjects, there's memory loss, you're dealing with trauma-based situations. It's a very tricky situation, and it's very difficult to validate a lot of things. First sign that someone is lying, their stories aren't connecting. Yeah. Now, there's a difference between deliberate lying and there's also natural evolution. You know, there's been a couple of people that says, oh, I thought you said you only had one child. Well, apparently I had more. I may have had more in the time since you last heard that story. That was actually someone in our network that did that.
See, the thing is, I know that you can back up your side because, and the reason I know this, and people are going to be like, I bet you're his pal and you're going to stick up for him. I said, no, just listen to me. I'm obviously my pal, but what I'm going to say is I can back up what he said. When we first met, and I had that weird dream that night about the little girl, and she was the double, that picture that he showed me. How? He never talked about it. Like, how? Okay, I mean, and it's the same with Elena's stuff, okay, I mean, she can back it up. I can move with some stuff now and again, right? I mean, I'll admit it, I do can move with some stuff now and again, but I'm like all mixed up for some weird reason. I think I've had electroshock therapy or something like that, right? I get everything wrong, but it's right sometimes. You get where I'm going with this, Dakota. I just think people, there is jealous people out there, especially on her channel, and they don't like newcomers, and they're jealous that you're getting asked these questions. Do you see where I'm going with this? And they're like, ooh, you can't do that, you can't do that. It annoys me because everybody should be sharing everything. See me, I don't particularly care. See me, I have got information, I can things, but I just tell him. Oops. And that's it, really. Well, what the hell's that?
Accidentally unplugged my headphone set.
You see where I'm going with my side here, right? And my astral, or who I was, or who I used to be, and stuff like that. I've told him, and I've told 2 other people, Elena Dennen, and I've told Lisa Fry. Right? I think that's about it. That's the only people that really know everything about me, didn't they? Really.
That's the only ones I know that you've been talking to.
Right. That's the only ones I talk to. And people will be like, well, why do you tell your story? Because, why? I've already told my story to him. And I've told my story to them. I am maybe important, but I'm not as important as his life is to now. You see where I'm going with this? This is your journey. You see, when you go to court, because I'm just getting all fucking mixed up.
Alright. I will say this. For those of you who try to discount my stories, yes, I purposely hold back certain details for time. And there's been people who asked, oh, why does Dakota say the situation's dark? I didn't tell you the whole thing. There's a lot more that it's not my place to share.
Exactly.
I've lost people because of this shit. I've watched people die, take their own life. I've been mentally evaluated. Even the psychologist said, Dakota, yeah, I can understand where you might be concerned about certain things, but you are too coherent for it to be any sort of illness. You may have a legitimate situation on your hands. It's like, oh, great. What do I do now? I mean, there's been times like, oh, Dakota probably has some sort of brain damage. Well, guess what, asshole? I was in a car wreck where just before the impact, my daughter appears in the passenger seat next to me, screaming, "Daddy, look out." I get hit by a pickup truck going 60 miles an hour. Hit me right in the head. Went to the hospital, had an MRI. No damage detected. Everything's looking fine up there.
Yeah.
I've gone through the tests to make sure that I don't have some sort of serious condition that's developing, because I'll admit it, there's a history with some diagnoses in my family and that are known to be genetic. That's part of the reason why I've been paranoid. But all in the same, how am I not going to figure it out if I don't reach out? The main reason why I initially reached out about my story was because these things were saying I was their father. And that is something that touches close to me because my father wasn't around. He's actually in prison, likely for the rest of the life because of the things he did. And it fucked me up for years out of fear that I would become something like him. That's the God honest truth. There was a situation when I was 3 years old and I had to put a knife into my stepmother out of self-defense, and I can show the fucking court records. So yeah, I reached out in order to understand, because I was wanted just to try to understand what was happening and see if anybody had some sort of connection to it. Not how it didn't unfold like how I thought it was, but also in the same light, being that it dealt with the situation where I attempted to make an attempt at my own life, and I already had a video flagged. Don't worry, YouTube, I'm fine. I'm just addressing that discussions need to be had, otherwise we can't help people. Because the level of experiments that need to be done to satisfy mainstream science are almost diabolical, man.
See, I'm going to say something that I've never really told anybody before. But a lot of people that watch me on here and they ken my backstory have asked me, why don't you talk about your kind of story? And I'm happy the way I am, to be honest with you. I feel that I've achieved something. You see where I'm going with this? I've just achieved something. Yes, there might be things that do come out in the future, but that's the future.
As someone who's tried to drop hints to Chris to tell him how to give him ideas on how to better put his stuff together, because I've seen enough from Chris. He and I have worked together. God, we almost hitting up with 3 years now, wouldn't we?
I know.
God, how time flies when you're out bald and bonkers. But I've seen enough out of Chris to know he is not a very good liar.
No.
That he is no actor.
No.
Yes, we've butted heads before, but that happens in any relationship you get in. If anything, yes, Chris may be experiencing something, but his understanding of it, and if anybody has a new analogy for this that could help with the younger generation, please let me know.
It's like old person syndrome.
His head's a lot like an old set of rabbit ears on a TV. Oh, I just thought of a new analogy that younger people would know.
I'm just...
It's like really, really bad Wi-Fi when you're trying to watch YouTube. It's all pixelated and mixed up.
It's like I'll get a message to Guy Dakota, and then it'll all be garbled with Google when I get to him. But I think it's meant to be that way. But maybe it's that way deliberately, so as he finds his own way. Think about it.
Yeah, I've come to
Or
the
it's a joke.
realization. And knowing my wife, I wouldn't be shocked. But all in the same light, there's a number of very credible resources, individuals that have all slowly started to come together. Elena is trying, from the sounds of things, Elena wants to introduce me to a couple of them, so there will likely be a follow-up interview sometime in the future.
Yes.
I don't know when.
Aye.
We just had the conversation, only gauged interest on whether or not I'd be willing to do it, which, of course, absolutely. We've had Elena on enough times, trying to use the opportunity. You know, if she wants to talk, fine. Let me know when she wants to do it. I'll make it happen. But all in this, every person that has been able to collect some kind of evidence to back their story, they're all saying the same thing, that at first, for a number of reasons, it took work to dig out those memories. They're still there. They're still in there. It's just that it almost physically feels like you're running into a wall.
It's a kind of annoying because there's people I've met in my life that I've told them stuff about me, and then they steal certain ideas from me.
Yep.
And I know that some of them watch this. But
I know there's one that seems like she's wanting to try to start coming back around, but it is what it is.
You know what I mean? But it's life, one big pile of utter pish. I can't wait to go back up there, get in my wee spaceship and just flee away.
There's a
back
number of
to my
people,
favourite place.
I know, there's a number of people that were writing about the Elena interview saying, "Oh, I'm so confused about it." How do you think I feel?
Look, there's people there that'll be jealous. You've got to remember this. You're going to get that. You're going to get stalkers. There you go. You might add stalker. I've
already had. I already had to lock up my. I had to lock up my Facebook.
See, that's
I had to lock up my Facebook because
Mike the Naked Bigfoot, he used to get sent hundreds of crazy pictures and stuff like that. You get crazy stalkers and stuff like that. Why does nobody ever send me in?
Because you don't put yourself out there as much?
Very true. I mean, I go into Facebook every 2 days or something.
Not the type of out there I'm talking about, but okay.
But it's. I just don't know. I wonder what happened to our guest tonight out of curiosity. No messages?
Yeah, no. I was actually just about to look to see if they got caught up in something, because and it's understandable. Life happens. We get it. Well, we'll see what happens. Nothing from her.
That's interesting.
Oh well. Might be a time zone mix-up.
Aye, she'll be on when I'm in my bed at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Well, I told her 5 p.m. Eastern, which would be about 2 p.m. her time, if I got it right.
Oh God. Anyway. So, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you have a fantastic. I hope you all go and check out Elena's interview, which you'll get this next week. So it'll probably be sitting at 20,000 views by then. And if there's any lonely ladies out there that are single, and you are young and in your mid-80s or whatever, this young man is single right now. Just thought I'd put that out there. Maybe your millionaire-ess. She might fund your projects.
Huh. Speak of the devil, Elena's on right now.
Is she?
Aye. Talking about channeling. We gotta get over there.
That's what we need to do. Right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll catch you all through the week. I'm doing a Ghost Squad Scotland this week if I've still got this mad cold. And Dakota, do you want to say anything before we go?
Well, like I said, ladies and gentlemen, we have a film we're trying to fund. All the links to find out more information about it will be in the description of this episode. Next week, by the time you see this, it'll already have happened. But we are going to actually be doing a live episode, so you're not having to subscribe to our Patreon in order to get access through YouTube. Continue the discussion about world events and maybe answer some questions that some of you come up, being that the video with Elena have been out for a week. So we'll see what life unfolds by then.
Catch you all later, dudes.
Bye.
Introducing the ultimate solution for content creators. Custom online TV channels from Bald and Bonkers Network. If you're tired of struggling to get your content seen by the right audience, our service is the perfect answer. With our custom online TV channels, you can showcase your content on your very own personalized channel. You'll have complete control over your channel's content, branding, and design, giving you the power to build a loyal following and grow your brand. Our service starts at just $14.99 a month, making it affordable for anyone who wants to create a TV channel for their content. Plus, with our easy-to-use platform, you won't need any technical skills to keep things running. All you need is content posted on YouTube, Vimeo, or Dailymotion to get started.
Thanks for tuning into the Bald and Bonkers Show. If you enjoyed the show and want to show your support, head over to our website at baldandbonkers.net. There, you'll find our merch, services, and more. Thanks for being part of the Bald and Bonkers family, and we'll see you on the next episode. And remember, always keep an open mind and an open heart. You never know what may happen tomorrow.